So we have only 5 participants, right? We'll wait for 1-2 minutes more and we'll start. Okay. So any questions you can ask me in the meanwhile? Have we done all the practice? Any questions? Any doubts? Any issues?
Hi, Kiran. Good morning. This is
Hi.
Chitra. So I wasn't able to attend after the break. Can you just give me an overview on what was covered?
In the last class, we were covered APIs. Okay. So
Okay.
we created the API using JSON server, and we consumed the API using a React application using Axios, and we performed the CRUD operations. Hello?
Okay, Kiran.
Yeah,
Yes.
we'll do one thing. We have 4 or 5 topics are pending now that we will be doing. If we get a chance, if you have time, we'll take the same concept once again with the real-time API. Okay, I'll create an API using .NET, Node.js or something. I'll show it to you and I'll connect to what will be called MongoDB if everything is fine. Otherwise, I'll take the same concept once again, which is very, very important. Okay, right. Let's have 1-2 minutes time. Okay, we got only less people. We'll wait for 2 minutes and we'll start. Okay. Others, any questions of your practice? Right. Wait for 1-2 minutes and we'll start. Routing will do now. Routing. We'll understand routing, React routing, navigate to component. We'll discuss. All right. So we'll be discussing some examples on the React routing. So first we'll discuss what is React.js routing here. Then we'll be discussing working with HOC, higher order components. Okay, we have React to React forms. Then Redux concepts are there. Okay, so 4 concepts I believe we have. If all the concepts are completed, then again we'll see how to create a API and perform CRUD operations in your React application once again. So first of all, routing. See, whenever you want to navigate to a component via route, it is possible using routing. In respect of any technology, routing is a very commonly used feature. Why generally routing will be used is it will make your interaction simple. Okay, so you need not to tell the component go there, and directly you can give component name in the what we call route. Example, if you have an app, okay, you need to go for the application name.com/HR. I want to go for the HR /login. I want to go for the login /registration. I want to go for the registration. This is generally we have to implement in the routing. So routing feature commonly used in all patterns, not only MVC pattern, which is used to navigate to different component using a route. Route is a simplified URL used to invoke a component directly via URL. All right. So how do we work with the routing? There are different ways. First thing is you need to install this command, npm install react router DOM. Okay. So make sure that this is going to be installing in your project. So here I'm going to be giving you this one. npm install react router DOM. All right. So I already installed npm install react router DOM. I have already installed. Now coming to routing demo. See here, I'll be taking you a class called as a class component. Let's say route demo 01. Right. Routing example 1. Whatever you want to give, you can give. No. So go to my app component. In the app component, I'm calling the route demo. Done. So I'll be having the route demo. Routing example 1. All right. So when it coming to a routing, what I want to do is I would like to have implementation related to route. If you want to work with a route, we need to have something called as a browser router. Okay. Link and router to be imported, and also route and routes to be also imported. These are the two things to be imported. These are the predefined modules. So here I'll go and have route respective modules to be added. All right. So everything is fine. Now coming here, what I want to do is whatever you want to have, okay, that to be configured in the routes. So let's go to browser router. Here what I'm trying to do is browser router. So browser router, it's like a boundary for your routes. What are we expecting? We are expecting some routes. What do you want to expect? See here, that to be provided in the routes tag. Routes is going to be the part of your browser router. In the routes, you need to tell that what to be provided. In case, if you want to have, okay, something like home, that to be given. So I'm giving, if anybody call /home, I want to call this home component. Home component. Make sure that the home component is available here. See here, I want to have the home component to be defined. Let's say home component is a basic component. Class home, it's the name of the component. What I'm trying to give is it's extending React and it's a home component. In case if you call this one, you need to have the what will be called browser router. Now let's go here and specify slash home. Home component is coming. Slash home. For example, I'm giving you about component. Let's say about. So this is like I can say home component. I'm writing we are into routing demo concept. So about. So this is something called as a about component. About component. And here I'm telling about component. We are into React trainings. So what happens, here I can give something like what's wrong here? Okay. Home. Okay. All right. About what's wrong here? Home already declared somewhere. And 2 times I given home. No issues. Remove the home. I given 2 times. Home and above. So here, what I'll do is I'll specify whenever I give this route, I want to have this, which element? This element to be given. For home to be there. For in case if I say about, I would like to have about to be provided. Now coming here, if I say home is coming. If I say about is coming. All right, this is how you can pass, you can have routing, right? Take a minute of time. Try this one. I'll tell you the steps one by one. First, what I need to do is, let me open this one. I'll give you code share. All right, I'll go and have the share link for you. This is the share link. Let's copy this. I'll give you the share link in the chat window. And here I'm telling you, first step is working with routing. Step 1, install package. So the first package you need to install is this one. Right? Step 2, add a new file and name it as route example01.js. Step 3, import the component in app component. Right, this one. All right, and here I'm giving very clearly, first these two to be imported. Okay, import following in the program. Then we need to define routes. Define following routes. So this I given for home and index. Okay, you try for about. Try this one, everyone. Try this one. So like this, you can have multiple components can be given. So whenever you want to have any component, here is the best way. For example, what I'm trying to do is, I would like to have a link also to be provided. Would like to have a link to be provided. So how I'm doing is, I'll have something like what will be called. So links I'm going to be providing. This is I'll be taking from Bootstrap. I'm using nav tabs. If you don't want, you can directly use UL also. So let's copy this 4 links I'm going to be getting. So here I'm going to be providing 4 links here and the browser route. 4 links. What are the 4 links? Home, about, login, contact. So I'm also giving you about and contact. I'm giving about for login, about contact. So about, login, contact. So contact. So here I'll be writing contact component. So we are in contact. You can contact us using email, mobile, Skype, WhatsApp, whatever. Okay, about to contact login. Let's say login. This is login component. This is login. Enter username and enter password. So this is something called help. So contact about login home about contact something. So we have 4 things are there. So I have whatever I select that I'm going to be getting. Login, I have not mentioned anything. So contact login. Okay, maybe it's not configured here. We need to configure everything. So here, so I need to configure home, about, login and contact. In case of login, what to do? In case of contact, what to do? This is login. This is contact. Try this. I'm not giving you entire thing here. These are the links to be provided. This is the route. Try this. So whenever you want to navigate. See guys, if you want to have Bootstrap to be enabled, I believe your people are aware of Bootstrap. So let's go to your Bootstrap CDN links. Any Bootstrap CDN links, you can get it. So I'll give you the Bootstrap CDN also. Bootstrap. So the Bootstrap CDN links, okay. So Bootstrap CDN links I'll give you. So these Bootstrap links, you can put it in the landing page. I'll be giving you in the chat window. If you want, you can take it. Now let's go to my project. The landing end user operating page is under the what will be called public. You can say index.html. You can give above meta type. Here you can provide it. By giving this, what happens, you will have the Bootstrap look and feel. Now the look and feel has been changed. All right. Like this, you can have whatever you want to. Bootstrap look and feel. Try this.
Hi, Kiran. Can you share the script in the code share? For me, I'm unable to copy.
Links you cannot copy in the chat window.
Yes.
Yes, may happen. Why? Because encrypted will be there, right? So I'll do one thing. So open index.html page, provide this one and route example 01. Here the route example 01. I'm giving you route demo, whatever you feel comfortable, you can do it. Okay. All right. Everything has been shared. Do it slowly. I'm here only. So I believe you're able to understand. Let's also have something called as a dashboard. If you want to have the another link, another component, let me call this component is a dashboard. Dashboard. Okay. Let's say dashboard component. So here I'll give you the component, something called as a dashboard. In case if somebody call this dashboard, it should go to the dashboard. But I am not going to be giving you that dashboard link in the there. Okay. There is no dashboard link here. Here I'm going to be not giving you the dashboard, but here I can go to dashboard. Now the question is, when I go for the login, username and password supposed to be there. I'll go to my login. Here I'm asking you to enter username. Input type is equal to text. Placeholder is equal to username. Right. A break. Input type is equal to password. Placeholder is equal to password. Now the question is, when I click here, I want to have a button. Let's call as a login. Now the question is, if you go to your login, enter the username and password, if these two are correct, then I want to go for the dashboard. So what I'll do here, I'll be writing something called as a validate. Okay, just want to validate. Here, if you remember, I'll go to my constructor, super. I'll also have this dot state equal to where I'm writing something called as a message, which is empty. Now here I'll be writing if whatever I'm going to be providing, let's say uname is equal to react.createRef. I'll be also giving pwd equal to react.createRef. Now here I'll be writing this ref is equal to this dot uname, ref is equal to this dot pwd. I can take whatever I feel comfortable. Here I'll be writing variable uname equal to, in case if somebody click on that button, this dot uname dot current dot value. If you remember last class we discussed variable pwd equal to this dot pwd equal dot current dot value. In case if this uname equal to whatever you want to give, let's say I'll be writing something called as a Kiran and the password is equal to Kumar. In case if these two are correct, what I can do is this dot set state. I can specify message is equal to credentials found correct. I can also say else this dot set state message invalid input credentials. All right. So let's go here and specify when you click on this one. When you see on click is equal to this dot validate. So when you go for the validate, you'll get it. Now coming here, uname and password is not different. Why uname and password is not different? Ref. Okay. So variable. Okay. This dot. Okay. Where it was mentioned. Okay. So, okay. When you're talking about it in the constructor, right? It should be defined within the constructor. Yes. So here I'm giving some username and password. I want to display this one. I need to provide something called as a break followed by this dot state dot msg. All right. So go and see this. So I can go and I validate it. When I click on this one, so I can say Kiran and Kumar. Now what I can, whatever I want to do, I can do it. Now in this case, what I'm trying to do is here I have declared the login component. In the login component, I provided these two things. Okay, and here I have only one variable in my statement, right? For understanding, to give you the space, I'm erasing the curly brace respective line, right? This is, try this one, do it slowly. Any questions you can ask me, I'm here only. Guys, I'm also giving you a feedback link here. Whenever you're free, not immediately, please do this one, okay? So this is a feedback link which I'm sharing in the chat window, guys. Whenever you're free, please fill this one. This is mandatory. All right. So login. Try this one. This is very, very important. It's very commonly used feature in all the projects. So guys, feedback link here. Whenever you're free, please do this one. Okay. Right. So whenever you want to validate any user, here is the best option. All right. So browser history.push, you can tell that whenever validate you want to navigate. For example, I can specify here. I'll specify. Let's say I can call browser history.push. Let me check. Yes. Browser history. Right. Let me check once. Browser history not found here. Maybe it's available in the router. No. I'll check out what was the issue. Browser history.push. Give me a minute. No issues. I'll find out what was the issue. So, right. I'll check out what was the issue. Actually, you can go to this one, browser history push. No issues. We'll find. We'll check out this. But you got an idea, right? How to navigate to a particular what will be called component with the help of the router. So routing is a mechanism which is used to navigate to particular component for the value what was provided in the route. All right. Now coming here, routing, we discussed the same examples were clearly given. If you want to go for a default, okay, go for a default. Let's say I can say route path slash. So here you can specify default in the sense when you don't specify where to go. So this is what I want to go for the default. In the default, if you want to specify here, you need to say path equal to slash exact strict render. I'm not sure. Let me check once. Exact strict. Right. Yes. Default. When you don't specify, you want to go for the home. So this is how to specify the default route. This is to configure default route. Right, yes. If you want to configure default route, here is the way. Configure a default route. Try this. Here is the way how to configure the default route. Configure the default route in the sense when you don't specify anything, at that time I want to go for the particular configure default route. Try this everyone. Configure a default route. So whenever you want to hit in the link, like that's in the videos. Okay, that they will take care. Okay, you wait for that. So if you want to pass the argument, for example, I want to say, I just want to go for the detail. If I go for the details, this is details. I want to go for the details component. Let me go and create a details component. Let's say details. So details component. Details. Okay. Details for whatever you have been given, that to be given here. One second, it is 6.4. So props constructor will be having props. Super. So we'll be writing details. Whatever you give in the slash, for example, if you want to specify details slash, let's say ID, the ID will come here. Okay, this is how you have to pass the parameter. And if you want to route path equal to this, okay, and you can say details is dot. Here when it comes to here, I can specify in the details this dot props dot match dot params, whatever the ID you given, that will be coming. So let's say here in the details, when you go for the details, let's say details of 12, something wrong, params, props. Let me remove this. Only keep it only the super, right? Props dot match dot params dot this dot props dot match dot params. Oh, params is missing. Huh? Why params is missing? Props dot match dot params, something wrong. Let me try. This dot props dot match. I need to check here. Actually, it should come directly. So let's say when you go for the details slash details. So what are the details you're going to be passing? The details. So it will go to the details. Let's say 12. The 12 will go to the params reading. Okay, so you'll be writing this dot props dot match dot params dot ID. I'm not sure why it's not on props dot match dot. Yeah, this dot props dot match. So let me remove this one. Put any issues. All right, props dot match dot params. Whatever you give, that will come. Let's remove this. So go for the slash details slash 12. I'll check out, guys. But here, this is what we need to do, match. constructor props super props should come actually. I'm not sure why it's not coming. Params is missing. Why params is missing? Params, everything is fine. Route slash details slash id slash details. Here you'll be writing the slash details slash id. You'll be writing. Correct only. I need to check here, but this is the correct only. Okay, why it's not working? Maybe version issue or something. Props dot params match dot params dot id. Warning. Guys, I'll check this, but here this is the way how to give. Okay, I'll give you this one in the document. Configure with the params route parameter. So route parameter. In case if you want to have the route parameter, here this is how to pass the route. Right. This is what we need to do. Route parameter. And here when it come to your component details. So this is how you need to reach. It's correct only. I'm not sure why it's not working, but here this is the way how to write. In the meanwhile, I'll find out what this issue. So could you please confirm, understand what is routing? Why do we need routing? Okay, so routing is a mechanism which is used to navigate to a component when you want to work with what will be called routes. So whenever you want to navigate to route, then we'll be using this one. Okay, 1 second. Let me also try this profile route. Log ID. Just a second, guys. I'll find out some other alternative. Anything? No issues. All right. So I believe you understand what is routing. This one also I'll solve it in a few minutes. So routing is a mechanism which is used to navigate to particular what will be called component based on the route. Now coming to the next one. So routing, we were clear. So we mentioned here parameter. Here also I mentioned somewhere. The detailed document was clearly given, guys. You can use this one. I'll upload this one in your drive access, whatever I given to you. Now coming to the next one. There is one of the very commonly used component concept is, which we'll be calling as a higher order components. What are higher order components? See, generally, sometimes while generating a component, you need a code to be written again and again. For example, let's say, I repeat, sometimes, okay, more than one component may have same code which to be written. Now, what a HOC will do is HOC, higher order components, higher order component, use it to reuse the same code for multiple components. I repeat, whenever you want to use same code to be given again and again, then we'll be using this higher order component. So component structure code can be generated. I repeat, this feature is used to share the common functionality between the components without duplicating the code. Higher order components is an advanced technique to reuse the component logic in React. Okay. For example, if you want to generate a code, for example, button click, I want to call something, mouse over, I want to call something. For that, you need to have the same code. In that case, we will be using how higher order components can be created. Here, I'll be writing higher order components. See here, I'm going to be calling a function higher order component. You can write ABC function. Send existing component. It will do some manipulation and return. So new component is going to be having the existing component argument. So now what happened, I'm going to be generating a component based on this component. Now, this component code, I can use it for multiple components. Use your whatever the code you want to give, you can. This is what higher order component. Now I am giving you one example for higher order component. See here, I just want to have a click counter which will generate number of times a button has been clicked. And also I'm going to be giving something called as a what will be called mouse over. How many times the mouse have been over without what will be called HOC. How it will be there, we'll see. Let's say I'm going to be giving you a demonstration called as a HOC. Let me close everything. So I'm going to be writing a new component I'm going to be creating. The name of the component is HOC demo. I repeat, HOC demo. React class HOC demo extends React.component. Now the question is, I'm going to be using two different components containing the same code. Okay, render. Here I'll be writing return div HOC demo. HOC demo. Right. Export default HOC demo. Now let's go to my root component. In the root component, I'm giving you something called as a HOC demo. So I'm giving you HOC demo. Now what is my intention here is, I want to have two different components containing same code, which to be given, which to be reused. I don't want to duplicate. So here first I created this one. Now I will go for the HOC demo component and I'll have something called as a button click. Now button click, what I want to do is, here I'm going to be generating the component is will create will give you number of times the button has been clicked. The number of times the button has been clicked here. So this is what I'm going to be giving. Let me go and call this counter here, the name of the click counter. Okay, so I'll go and have this click counter. The name of the component is click counter. See, click counter. See here, what is this click counter? Now click counter is a component which is going to be checking number of times the button has been clicked. Click counter. Right. So let's go here and see. Now I'll be having click counter. Component is not defined. Line number 13. React component. Right. So here you can see that increment counter, decrement counter. Now the thing is, if I click on the increment button, the value of the initially the value is 0. So I want to increase it and decrease it. In order to do this one, I am going to be having something called as a click counter. Now what is this click counter? Is a counter which is going to be giving you current value. How many times the button has been clicked. This is a click counter. Right. Now like this, if you are able to see, I'm going to be also having another counter called as a hover. Okay, hover counter. Even this hover counter also. Okay, now what is my question is, how many times my mouse is over, that I want to display. In this case, what happens, both the components containing the same code. What it is? Hover counter. Let's say hover counter. See, click counter is there, hover counter is there. So try this. There are two things. Now, see. So if you click on the button, you'll get increment, decrement. If you move the mouse, you'll be getting. Now the question is, there are two different components which may have a similar functionality. Now, what was the code which was generated in this increment and decrement of button click? Same thing was given here. So the question is, the code which is used in the hover counter and the click counter, okay, same code I want to use it instead of duplicate. Here the code is duplicated. Frankly speaking, what was there in the increment count? Same thing was there in the increment count here. Right. Same thing was there in the increment. Let me remove the button for increment. So you'll get confusion. So I want to have, there is something called as an increment. Only decrement was there. Increment was there. Now what's happening here? So when I click on the mouse, you're getting increase. When you click on the button, you'll get it. Right. Now the thing is, the code which is used in the button click component and the code which is used in the mouse over component, I want to use it again and again. In that case, instead of, see guys, the code which was there here in this component and the code which was there in this component is similar. So frankly speaking, code duplication taken place. Now I don't want to duplicate. I want to reuse the component, and this is possible using HOC, higher order component. So guys, I'll give you an example now. Let's copy this one. So in order to implement the HOC, what is HOC? Higher order components. Higher order component. This feature is used to reuse the component code instead of duplicating. Right. So what we need to do? Step 1. Create new JS file, HOC demo.js file. Right. And here, do this. Open app.js file and import HOC demo. Try this one. I'll show you how to use a higher order component. Try this.
Hi, Kiran. One doubt. Hello, Kiran. You there?
HOC demo where we are going to be having the higher order component. Now, in this case, we
Kiran, there
haven't.
was one doubt from my end.
No. One second. We haven't implemented the HOC. Yes.
No,
Now tell me.
this is regarding the previous state. So I wasn't sure what that is. The line number 33 we have.
Yeah,
We are
it's a
implementing.
variable name. When you click on the button, I want to get the next value, right? So current value to be taken, I've taken the variable called as a previous state. You can take A also.
Oh, okay.
See, the previous state is a variable name, which I'm going to be taking as a previous state. You can take A, B, C, D. See, when you click on the button, what is my question is, I want to find out what is the current value and I want to get the next value. So current value I'm taking as a previous state and next value I'm getting previous state dot con plus one. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right. You can see the state, the variable name. You can see.
Yeah.
So now this is an implementation to be done using HOC without writing the code. I don't want to see two component has the same code. I don't want to use the same code. I want to reuse the code and it's possible using HOC, right? So I'll give you 1-2 minutes time. Try this one. If you're okay, then I will implement HOC. Hello. All right. So let me implement the same thing. See, I'll take this copy for you in the PPT that I'll give you the PPT HOC. So let's say HOC. So what I'm trying to do is HOC is nothing but a place where you're going to be having the component containing duplicated data, more than one component. Now what I want to do is, I want to tell you that, see, React.js, okay, multiple components without, duplicating source, duplication of code, multiple components, duplication. This is, so what I'm trying to do is, here I'll have a component here. What I'm trying to do here is, this is my click counter. Let me copy this. So for your understanding only, I'm giving you guys. Later I'll change this one. This is what I'm trying to do. Let's see. This is one component. Okay, I'll duplicate this. And here I'll have another component which containing both the components containing the same code. But here, for based on the requirement, the component UI code also I want to reuse. And this is possible using HOC. Now, in this case, what happens, the component containing the code, okay, want to change. That is possible using HOC, higher order component. Let me explain you with a simple example. So let's say I don't want to use the code. What is the best option? I already have the HOC ready. Okay. So what I want to do is, say, hover counter. Okay. So I'm going to be creating a counter called as a hover counter. Hover counter, which is a hover counter. Now I want to have HOC. It's a component which take component as an argument. So I'm taking a first one, something called as a update component, a component which is going to be update. So what I'm trying to do is, original component I'm passing it as an argument, and I'll create a new component, and I want to have this implementation like an increment as well as a render method, and I want to return this. I'm going to be calling as a update component. Let me copy this. Okay, let me go here and specify. Here what I'll do is, here I'll specify something called as a updated component. What it is? Updated component. And in the updated component, what I'm trying to do is, here I have a click counter, right? So this is a click counter, right? Now what I want to do is, here I want to have this click counter. When you have a click counter, I'm going to be export default updated component of click count. Now what happens, let me explain it. So this is the updated component. Let me give you three separate files for you. So let me call this one updated component. Let's copy this, save this. I'll go and create something called say updated component. Updated component, a component which is going to be updating. Okay, this is updated component. Let's see. Same thing, import React dot. Okay, so here export default updated component. Now what happens, this is updated component. What this updated component will do is, will take original component as an argument, and exist a new component I'm going to be creating. That new component containing the increment and render methods, and this will, now when you send any original component, that original component is going to be return the original component with these things, count and increment count definition. So they don't need. Okay, so and here I'm going to be creating, let me erase these things, other things, whatever we have in the HOC component, right? Let me remove the HOC component containing the click counter as well as hover component. Let me remove this. Here HOC, I'm going to be, what I'm trying to do is, I'll create something called say click counter dot JS, and here is a click counter dot JS. Here I'll be writing like this. If somebody call the click counter dot JS, this click counter dot JS, what happened, it's going to be, if somebody call click counter dot JS, it should return the updated component with click counter. So this is a beauty, right? Now coming here, same thing. I'll go for the hover component. Let's say hover component. Click counter, hover counter. .js. So here, hover counter. If somebody call the hover counter, it should return the updated of hover. So this definition. Let's say in the click counter is there, hover counter is there, HOC. What's wrong here in the definition? Right. All right. Click counter is not defined. Hover counter is not defined in the line number 7 and 14. Where it is. So import. Stop. Right. Import. Click counter. Right. Import over counter. Over counter. Now run this example and see what happens. What HOC counter can't resolve. Why? Okay, HOC demo. Let me copy this one and call in the React HOC demo. All right, what's wrong here? HOC component can't resolve. Okay, where is HOC component? I'm going to be calling this is updated component. Right, everything is fine. HOC demo. HOC demo. What is the issue? HOC component in the SRC HOC component. We are working HOC demo, right? HOC demo. What's wrong? Where is the hover counter? Okay. What's telling HOC component is missing? Where HOC click counter? Click counter. Let's go to the click counter. Okay. Updated component. Everything is fine. React.component or something. React.component. Right. Over component. HOV over component. React.component. Something wrong. Okay. What was the issue? Click counter containing the error. Click counter containing the error. What is a click counter? Export default. Okay, if somebody call the click counter, we need to send it. Okay, React.component. Okay, React.
And that import
Yes.
Second one.
Come again?
Second line, import updated. Yeah, not here. The third line now. Updated component from dot.
Come again? Which line? Tell me.
Line 3.
Line 3. Okay.
Yeah, dot. Dot forward slash.
Okay, updated component is
we
from
don't,
HOC
we don't
demo,
have
right?
a
It's in
we
HOC
don't
demo.
have
No. Okay, no.
Yeah.
It's an updated component. One second. We created updated component file. Yes. I'm sorry. Updated component. Right. Over. Click counter also. Okay. Updated. I did a mistake. Right. So it's working fine. So you can understand that in the click counter, there is no definition for increment. In the over counter also, there is no definition for increment. But these definitions are available in this state. Same code we can use. So what we need to do is first we need to go for the create 3 files. One is HOC demo.js, click counter.js, and over counter.js. So when it coming to first click counter, you do it one by one. Okay, right? This is the first one, right? The next one is over counter. And also click counter and also updated counter. Right. The component, updated component. Make sure that the names are matched. Okay. So that is a way how you can have the HOC. One of the very, your people not going for any interviews, very commonly asked interview question. Try this one, everyone. Okay, you proceed. I'll have one more example. Let me check whether it's working fine or not after a long time doing. So employee report. Okay. So I have department report. I have something like this. Admin report. Right. About HOC. There is something called as employee report. Department report. I want to have it with the people report. Okay, you can do it right. Later we'll see. So guys, could you please confirm whether you are able to understand what is HOC, higher order component? Any questions in this? Any questions? Any questions? All right. So whenever you want to, what will be called submit multiple elements to the input. Okay. Generally we use forms. Form is a collection of input elements. Whenever you want to submit a collection of input elements to the server, we'll be using forms. Okay. Let's say forms example 01 import React. Okay. Class forms example 01 extends React.component render return div forms example 01 export default forms example 01. Let's go to the app component. I'm going to be calling the forms. Right. Right. Forms example. So whenever you want to take multiple elements, we will be using form. Generally, we take input element 1, 2, 3, but if you want to go for a one multiple elements, you can. Generally, on submit, which can be added to your input element, and on change, on click, whatever you want to give, you can get. To handle the input, you'll be using this dot, your handle input dot bind, we will be using. Let me explain with a simple example. I have something called as a what will be called handle submit. When you click on the button, I just want to say hello. Okay, so what I'll do here, I'll specify. Here I'll be writing something called as a handle submit. Okay, in this handle submit, what happens, you'll be getting hello method. All right, now coming here, I will use form element. Okay, now what is my form element here? I'll be writing is here I'm going to be providing something called as a form. So what happens, this form will be sent. Okay, input type equal to form. And I would like to, when you run this example, what happens, you click on the button, you'll be getting hello. So whenever you want to have multiple, now what happens, this form is a group of input elements where you can have multiple elements to be submitted to server. Okay, so forms can be handled using the form. Here on submit is equal to, you can call whatever the method it may be. You can directly call, you can say like this also, you can call. Okay, but if you don't have any argument and all, this is the best option what we can do it. Okay, so window.build. So if you want to read input, if you want to do something, for example, this is alert, right? Here I can say variable name equal to input, enter name. So I can also say alert, something called backward, hello followed by your name. Whatever you want to give, you can give. Both I'm giving you. Okay. So input, alert, prompt. I'm sorry, prompt. Right. So let me comment this for a minute. So click here. What is your name? Kiran. Click here. Hello, Kiran. Try this. Take 5 minutes time. Okay, so whenever you want to work with forms, for example, let's say I want to have multiple elements to be taken, like name, gender, everything and all. Whenever you want to change the input and you want to take, you can do it. Okay. For example, reading multiple values, example 2. Let me take this. Okay. So let me copy this. Okay. From example 02. Right. So here I'll be writing from example 02. So coming here, I want to handle the input. So generally we'll be using handle input. For this, what I'm trying to do is here I'm taking, when I click on the submit button, I'm taking this one. So here, when I go for the handle input, it will directly go and do the handle input. That input will be captured here. Okay. And when you click on the submit button, that value will be there. So let's go to the output and see here. I'm going to be calling the second option, right? Let's go to the app. Okay. Here I'm going to be taking the example 2. You can take what multiple elements, anything can be given. All right. So Kiran. So here, this is my second example, forms. Guys, you can try this example and you can go for the 15 minutes break. I'll continue after 11:45. Yeah. So we understand what is React, working with React. Hello. Yeah. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
All right. So let me go to the next concept. Okay. So forms, we have multiple elements can be given here. All the examples I'll submit to you. So coming to the next one, state. How can you maintain the state of the data in the React or any what will be called any JS applications? There is a third-party company called as a Redux. Redux is a perfect state maintaining container for JavaScript apps. It's not for React, it's a Redux. Okay. It helps to write applications which behaves consistently. For example, let's say I have a facility where I'm going to be writing something called as say, what I can say, we have what I can say, I have a state to be maintained between multiple components. And I want to maintain the state across the different components and all. It is possible with the help of the Redux. So Redux is a third-party library which is used to maintain the state. First step, you need to install the npm I Redux. So it's already done. I'll have one basic example. I'll come back to this example in React after a few minutes. Let me close the current project. Close the current project. Close folder. So I'll come back to my previous examples, what we have been discussed, like my folder. So I'll go and install the React. So I can simply say npm install React. So what it will do is npm install Redux. Now Redux has been installed in your application. Now what a Redux will do is it maintains a state. Maybe you can call the state from different components, different files, different places. The state will remains. So whenever you want to maintain the state across the components, Redux is the best choice. Redux is the best choice to maintain the state across the different components. Redux is the best choice to maintain the state across the components. Right, 1 second. So whenever you want to maintain the state, then we'll be using the Redux. Redux is the best choice to maintain the state across. What's wrong here? Let me stop this. Let me go for this one. I have already Redux installed in my machine, installed in my project. Okay. npm install Redux. npm install Redux. Redux is a place where we have what will be called state can be maintained. Now, if you want to install, you need to say npm install Redux. Now coming here, Redux store. Redux store is a place where you can hold your state of the entire application. Store refers to nothing but a globalized data. Action refers to describe changes in the state of the action. In my Redux, if you in your data, if you need any changes, that will be done using action. Reducer, which carries over the state transition, depends upon the action. Now, how do I do this one? So let's say there are multiple components and I want to carry the data using Redux. The bestest option is Redux. Here, first working with the Redux, what do you need? Variable, you can use variable Redux equal to require Redux. Store, you can create. Otherwise, you can directly use this one. So what I can do is I'll go for the, what will be called a new terminal. So I can specify index something called say 23.js. All right, here I can specify, this is my first example. Create store from Redux, which is already installed. Here I have some example if you are able to see this. So what's going to be happening here is, what's wrong with this? Let's drop this. Save this. Let's close it. Go to the terminal and here new terminal. All right, I can go and have the new terminal. I'm not sure what was the issue. Let me see. I have created a Redux variable. Variable Redux is equal to require Redux create store equal to Redux.create store. Here I have two actions, increment and decrement, where we have something called as a type is going to be generating increment decrement. Reducer, the one who do the action. When you say increment, initial state to be increased, decrement in the sense initial state to be decreased. I want to create a reducer. I can say store to be created using reducer. I can say increment and decrement. Now what happens, you'll be getting this. I'm not sure what was the issue. Let me go and close this and open it once again. So code, Visual Studio Code. I'm going to be using my folder. I'll be using the terminal. I'll be using, I'm not sure what was the issue. All right, absolutely fine, working fine. So I'll go for the command prompt. I'll go for this one and I'll simply say, this is my example. Node index 23. So what happened, you can have initialization. So what was the issue? npm install Redux to install npm install Redux. So try everyone. All right. 23, yes. So here what happened, if somebody call this increment, they have to give one value increase. So this can be given for multiple applications. So try this example, everyone. Redux. So first what we need to do, open any folder in Visual Studio Code, install Redux. How do I install Redux? npm install Redux. Then you need to create new file, name it as your wish index.js. Run using node index.js. Try this. I'll give you 5 minutes. Then Redux is a place where we can maintain the state of the data. Redux is a place where we can maintain the state of the data. All right. So let me get the state of the data using Redux application. I believe you did it. Okay. So let me go and get your same project. So Kiran React app, npm start. I want to have Redux implementation here. Maybe multiple components, maybe multiple things I want to maintain the state across the components. I want to maintain the state across the components. What is the best option I have? So I'm going to be creating a new component where I want to have increment and decrement. I want to have the state. That is possible using store, Redux store. So first what I'll do is I'll create a file called as a store1.js. Store1.js. In the store1.js, I given two definitions, increment and decrement. In case if we call increment, there should be a JSON object should return increment, and if you call decrement, there should be a JSON object return decrement. In the reducer, I'm telling the action type is increment and decrement. Increment in the state +1, decrement in the state -1. If you don't tell anything and I call the reducer, it's return the state. All right. And here I'm going to be calling the Redux example 01. Redux example 01. All right. This Redux example, I'm calling the increment and decrement. Let me call, see, multiple Redux example, multiple components having the same, what will be called implementation. Redux example 01. Redux. Example 01. Redux. So we'll be having the Redux implementation directly. Let's see. So this is coming from a separate component. This is coming from a separate component. Redux. So what are we going to do here is Redux. So what I'm trying to do is I have Redux example increase method, which will give you the dispatch of increment, decrease method, which will give you the dispatch of decrement method. Okay. So what happened in a multiple components calling the same method with the implementation. Redux. Try this everyone. This example, guys, I'll be coming in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. So could you please confirm, are we clear how to, what will be called maintain the state using React? React is a third-party library where you can maintain the state across the components. Maybe there can be hundreds of components, thousands of components you can maintain. So when you, for example, let's say you have a facility called, let's say, login, logout, and all. From the login and logout, you want to maintain the state, and that you need to maintain using the React. Yes, it is possible. For example, you have login, you have logout. From the login and logout, you want to maintain the state. Is it possible to maintain the state using the React? Yes, it is possible. Okay, React is a place where you can maintain the state across the components. React is a place where you can maintain the state across the components. So in order to do this one, I'm giving you one example. So what I'm trying to do here is, there is something called a Redux example, where I want to maintain the state across the components using something called as a login and logout. In this case, I'm taking a variable file called a session store, where this session store, what I'm trying to do is I'm taking a username and return the username. Okay, logout. And here in the reducer, what I'm trying to do is I want to say logout has been successfully done. So let me copy this and I'll create something called as a session state. Let me close everything. Session state. Okay, session store, session state or session store, whatever. Here I'm taking the username login. Okay, and I'm going to be returning logout also. So what I'm trying to do is you're logged in or logout, whatever I'm going to be saying. Next one, here I'm going to be taking something. So login component. So login component. So I'm going to be taking login component. So let's say login component. Okay. In the login component, here I'm telling something called as there are some users. Let's see something called as Anil. First user is Anil. Second user is Bobby. Third user is Charan. Fourth user is David. So I have something called as 4 users. Now here what I want to do is status by default invalid. When I validate, I will take the username from password and I will verify whether it is. So here I want to maintain the state, and here I'm going to be giving you the state username and password to be taken. And I'm asking you to define the dashboard component as well as dummy component. If the username is valid, I want to go for the dashboard component. Otherwise, I want to go for the dummy component. Let's coming to the dashboard component. So what I'm trying to do is let me go and create the dashboard component. ESH. So in the dashboard component, what I'm trying to do is here I'm asking you to get the state. Okay. Now when it coming to root component, okay, dashboard component here, this is the dashboard component. In the app component, I'm calling the login component. In the app, what I'm trying to do is I'm calling the login component. So login component. So when it comes here, it will be prompt me to enter the login. So by default, Kiran and Kumar. So what happened? Invalid input connections. So what is the first user we are telling that in the login component? Here I'm telling very clearly Anil and Anil. So Anil is a username, Anil is a password. So credentials validated, found correct, and you are navigated to dashboard. So this is a separate component and this is a separate component. I'm maintaining the data from this component to this component using Redux. Redux is a place where you can maintain the state of the data across the components, which is a very beautiful feature. Very beautiful feature. Let me explain you one by one steps what we need to do. First, you need to go further. So what I want to do is I want to delete everything. I want to have the login.js, dashboard.js. There's something. So logout.js. In the login, here is my login example. And also I'm using dummy dashboard. When the username and password is correct or not correct, I want to go for the dummy dashboard. Dummy component where I want to have the, this is to be redirected when your username and password are wrong. This is a dashboard. Okay. And this is login. This is session store. Session store where we maintain the data. Session store. Right. You can give whatever the name you want to give. Dashboard, dummy dashboard. So let's go to the dashboard. This is my dashboard. Let's copy this dashboard. Okay. Dummy component also I have. When you don't have any username and password, just to redirect, I'm going to be giving you the dummy component. Your wish, whatever you want. Okay, right. Try this one. We will mention everything to make it your Redux example very clear. Go and try this, everyone. Understand, right? What is Redux? How to work with Redux? Any questions? All right. So the state across the different components, if you want to maintain, Redux is the best place. For example, when you from login to log out, from dashboard, everywhere you can maintain. All right. Guys, any questions? Somnath? Sri Lakshmi? All right. So let's say I have data in my database. Let's say there is a data in my database and I want to perform CRUD operations on the data. How can I do it? Let me open my MongoDB. So, you know, MongoDB or MySQL or whatever it may be. So, MongoDB or MySQL or whatever it may be. Let's say this is my MongoDB compass. So, I have my MongoDB where I have some dummy data inside my MongoDB and I have the database called as a employee DB. Now this employee DB containing some records like ID, name, job, salary of 2 employees. Now this is my MongoDB. Now the question is, this MongoDB data, I would like to access in my what will be called React application. I repeat, I want to have this employee DB data, which is available in my what will be called React application. I want to have. Let me go to my, let's say something called as a EMP component .js. So this is my EMP component JS. Import React from React class, something called as a employee list, whatever it may be, employee CRUD or whatever you want to call CRUD. Okay, extends React from component. Now return. Okay, what I'm trying to do is div employee list. This is what I want to do. I'll go to the EMP component, right? Let me go to here and I'll say EMP component. So here I'll be writing import from EMP component. EMP component. Now, what is my intention is this EMP component should go to my database. EMP component. What was the issue you are able to see here? Let me go and check it out. All right. Redux example is not defined. I don't need it now. Let's go to my app component. So which we are getting from the app.js. So EMP component. So it's imported as EMP component. It's not exports. Okay. So EMP component export default. Big component. Good. Yeah. This is what I wanted. Now this should go to the database and get the data from the server. In order to do this one, I already have an API created in my Node.js. Let me open my another Visual Studio code for my implementation. This is my employee group. Now, what is my intention here is I would like to have a new API to be created and this API to be called for that what will be called EMP. Let me open the code only, Visual Studio Code. All right. So this is my employee, what will be called API. Let me create a new project. Let me go to the file, new file. Let me call the name of the file is something called as a EMP1. Okay, so I'll open a folder. C:\EMP CRUD, EMP employee API or something. Okay, node module. So this is already I created, guys. If you are from what will be called node background, you can understand. Now I want to go for the EMP API, employee API. Let me go for the C EMP node API. Okay, let's say node employees are there. Now, what this is going to be happening is it's going to be connecting to the employees which were there. So here I'm going to be connecting to MongoDB. So this is my MongoDB. And here I have employee DB. So I have employee DB. So wherever I have blue square employee, I'll be changing this one to employee DB. So what this API will do here is it's going to be interacting with the database, which is there in my MongoDB. Let's say run this example and I'll simply say node1. When you say node1, it keep on running. It's running in this one. Like I can say my API is running. So what is the name of the API which is running in the port number called, let's say something like 9000. Localhost 9000. So 9000 you'll be getting. So slash employees. If everything is fine, you're supposed to get the data from the data. So what was the issue? Because the thing is, this API, if you are going to be accessing, it should come from the employees. Employee DB TBL employees. Make sure that it is there with employee DB TBL employees. I have employee DB TBL employee. The name of this one is employee. So let me try. Can I rename this one? Employee. So let me go and see this. Employee TBL employee DB containing TBL employee. All right. Wherever you have TBL employees, I want to change to TBL employee. All right. Replace all. Now what happens, in case if everything is found, you're supposed to get it. Okay. So what's wrong here? So employees, what's wrong here? Employees. Save this, run this. It should go to the MongoDB and get this something. Now you are getting this. Now this data, I want to get it from my React application. So how do I define? I'll explain you once again. So I open my MongoDB. In the MongoDB, I have created something called as my employee DB database, which containing something called as a TBL employee, where I want to fetch the data from the employee DB. So I have my MongoDB. Let's go to my connected and I can go and see that TBL employee DB, which containing something called as a TBL employee, where we have two records are there. Kiran and Jagadish record is there. You can try from here. Kiran and Jagadish record. Two records are there. Now, these two records which are there in the MongoDB, I want to consume. So, accessing your React application from your application. See, how do I do this? Here, I'll give you the code for your understanding. You can try. What I did, I'll tell you. Step 1. Create collection in MongoDB, database in MongoDB. And name it as employee DB. This is the first step. The next one, step 2. Add a new collection and name it as TBL employee. Step 3. Add 2 records for what will be called Kiran and as what are 2 records. Now, create JS file and provide following code to access data from MongoDB via API. So what we need to do? So create file and name it as index.js, install MongoDB. I will bring npm install MongoDB, npm install Express for your web API. This is the code. This code I'm providing in your, which will be called this one. Now this I will consume in your Angular project. Now what happened, Angular project, React project can interact with your device. I'll give you 5-10 minutes time. Try this one. you can understand that this is an API which I created from my Node application. What I can do is I can consume my Node application from here. Okay, I mean to say that I can access the data from the database. Now there are two applications which are running. One is MongoDB connecting API. Now this API I want to consume in the Angular. How do I do this? Let's go for, guys, able to follow, right? So let's go to the next one. What I am trying to do is here in this employee component, I want to get the data when your application is executed. So here I'm going to be writing in the last class, if you remember, consume API. Okay. So see handouts, Axios. It's in React only. Axios. In the Axios, we are going to be consuming the API. So what I'm trying to do is I'm going to be consuming the API using this React application. So how do I do this one? Here React, right? So here first what I want to do is I want to go for the Axios in this one, which I'm going to be getting the data from the employee. So first make sure that API is running. So here what I'm doing is I want to get this data. Okay, get the employees, whatever you want to give, you can give. So here what I'm doing is let the application runs, which will not disturb anything. So here I'm writing something called as a state equal to employees. All right. So here, and I'm going to be writing something called as a localhost employees. Let me check where it is working fine. So it's running in the employees 9000/employees. Let me copy this. Now this is going to be writing 9000/employees. Right. So this is going to be getting the data from the database, which is coming from the MySQL. Now here I'm going to be writing get employees. So here I'm writing employees, Axios, this URL response, this employees. All right. Now this is what I generally call it. Now coming here, when everything is fine, I want to get this one. So what I'll do here, I'm going to be calling in the what will be called render method. I can call directly get students or whenever it may be. Let's say I want to have a button get employees. So let's say I am going to be calling this one get employees. Let's say so get employees, get all. So I can say in the get employees, what I'm trying to do here is when I click on this get employees to be called. So I have already the method is there. Let's say I will call this get employees. So button get employees. So here I'll be writing when I click on click is equal to this dot get employees. Done. Now what I'll do here, I'll specify a break table. Now I'll simply say class is equal to table border, whatever your HTML, whatever you given, table over. Okay. So here table head, table row, th ID, th name of the employee. I can say job. Finally, salary. Now I'm going to be getting the salary. Now here I'll be writing tr. Sorry, I can say t body. All right. So I can say this dot state dot employees dot map. Here I'll be writing e. Where here I am going to be calling tr tt e dot id. In case if everything is fine, you are supposed to get this one. Right. So here Axios is not defined. Axios is not defined in the sense you need to say npm install Axios. So you are ready for Axios. So which will get the data from the database. It will take a couple of minutes. So go and try. All right. Students is not defined. Why students? We need to have employees, right? So employees. Why you want students? Students, right? Employees. Right. Axios is not defined. Where is Axios? Axios import from Axios. Axios. So what happened? You'll be getting get employees. You'll go to the database and get the data. Now, why you're not getting the data when I click on the button? get employees. So I want to have, when I click on it, on click, I did a small mistake. So click on this. You are supposed to go to the database and get the data. Why? Get employees. This is get employees. Here I'm going to be getting this one, get employees. Now return the employees. Where this employees to be given, this employees you will be getting it. Now this employees we need to put it into our variable. Now what I do, I'll tell you just a minute. When I click on this dot employees, okay, response, this dot employees, you need to put it into this variable. So when I click here, so when I click here, this dot employees dot employees, yeah. So what I can do is here I can specify, then whatever the response you got, this dot set state employees to response, whatever the response you got. Now in case if everything is fine, you will be getting the data from the database. Yes, this data ID is coming. Very good, absolutely fine. So I want to get the data from the name, ID, name, job, and salary. Right. So click on this one, you'll get this. Data is coming from the database. One, Kiran, two, Jagdish. Go to your MongoDB and see Kiran and Jagdish. This is how you can write. For your understanding, I am giving you this component in the chat. I mean, not in the chat, and this one you can try. Code shell. Try everyone. Employee component. I can give you the name, something called as say emp component.js. Try everyone. Hope you enjoyed the session, right? So guys, as per the content, we covered everything. So any questions you have? You can ask me any questions you have. So here is the example where we can perform CRUD operations. Like I can give you a complete set where we can perform CRUD operations. I given in the students, you implement in the what will be called employees. So completely given. For example, I want to perform some operation like what we can call. Let me get you the output. See, this is a get output. Show employees. Let me change the button to show employees. So button is show employees. On click, show employees. So I'll also have another button. Button hide employees. So hide employees. Hide. So what I'm trying to do is this dot hide employees. In the place of hide employees, what I'm trying to do is I'll simply say empty. This dot hide employees. This dot set state employees to empty. We don't have anything. So here you can say hide employees. One click is equal to this dot hide employees. And also you can change this one to a tag instead of this one. So I don't need to have hide employees. Wait. So I can say. So you'll be getting this. So show employees, hide employees. Okay, implement the hide employees. There is a code for hiding employees. Hide employees, I given this one. And here is the code for button click. I changed this one from show to button to anchor tag. You can even implement the get, post, put, everything. Okay, guys. According to the content, we have covered everything. Okay. So hope you enjoyed the session. Thank you so much and bye for now, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
Thank
please
you,
fill
Kitan.
the feedback form before completing. Okay, concluding. Thank you.